What is up, Disney nerds? Today, I just came back from watching the newest DC movie, The Flash. Now, this movie had a lot of, I would say, controversial things going into this movie. Of course, with, Ezra Miller, and all that drama. I try to look very past that while watching this movie. And of course, there was a lot of mixed reviews going into this movie. A lot of positives saying like Stephen King and Tom Cruise were loving it and even called the director and said how great it was. And then there's a lot of bad reviews like with the CGI, stuff like that. We're going to dive deep into this. This is going to be a spoiler review. So just letting you guys know that in advance. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So right off the bat, with Ezra Miller's situation, I just watched this movie, and it's really a shame that Ezra Miller did all this stuff, because they were perfect in this movie as the Flash. In my opinion, I thought this was one of the greatest Flash that we've ever seen. Compared to Grant Gustin's Flash in the TV show, I thought this was really good. And I was never a fan of Ezra Miller's Flash in like the Justice League or Batman vs. Superman or even Zack Snyder's Justice League. But this one was really good. And it's a shame because I don't think we're ever going to see Ezra Miller again as the Flash. And honestly, they shouldn't be, because of what they did in real life is just dramatically absurd. But with this movie, they did a phenomenal job as the Flash, and that was really incredible. This movie was very good when it came with the plot, and that's what we're gonna start off with. The plot, I'm giving it 10 out of 10. The plot was perfect. That was the best thing about this movie. It was the Flashpoint paradox, and it covered it very well. However, I would have really liked to seen Reverse Flash in this movie, especially because the Flashpoint paradox, and I really like how they covered it in the Flash TV show starring Grant Gustin, where the Reverse Flash deceases Barry Allen's mother. We never really know who or what happened to Barry Allen's mother in this movie. She just dies, and Barry Allen just goes like, I want to save that. I want to run back in time. And that's basically what the plot of this movie is. And it was very good from start to finish. Now I want to talk about the visual effects of the movie. I'm giving the visual effects a 9 out of 10. Now, this is where a lot of people were having, I don't know what was going on, but people were saying that the visual effects sucked and that they weren't good. I beg to disagree. Now, I totally agree when it comes to Black Adam that the visual effects in that movie weren't good. When it came to some of the things, Thor Love and Thunder, some of those CGI effects, I was like, alright, that's a bit weird, but I can agree with you, but this movie, absolutely not. I think the cheesiness of the visual effects are good, and that's what the director was actually going for. He said, Andy, I'm sorry, I don't know his last name, but Andy, he said, I want the audience to see what Barry Allen sees when he's running really fast and stuff. And of course, it's all blurry and really kind of messy looking. And honestly, I completely understood what he meant while watching this movie. And I think you gotta understand that while going into this movie, that you're watching it through the perspective of Barry Allen, and I'm 100% all for that. And I actually thought the CGI was phenomenal, especially in the fight scene with Barry Allen versus the future Barry Allen. I thought that was phenomenal CGI, and with all the other worlds collapsing, like the Nicolas Cage world and the OG Superman world, which, to be honest, those were pretty shocking cameos in my opinion. Speaking of cameos, I was very upset that we didn't get Grant Gustin. Where was he? I did not understand that, but whatever. You bring in Nicolas Cage's Superman, but you won't bring in Grant Gustin, the best Flash of all time. Whatever. But that was really cool CGI in my opinion. So visual effects, I'm giving, again, 9 out of 10. Acting, in my opinion, I feel like this is the worst part of the movie. I'm giving a 7 out of 10. Ezra Miller's acting was phenomenal. I know it's Ezra Miller, but they were perfect in this movie. With the 18-year-old Barry Allen, with the present Barry Allen, it was perfect. However, Michael Keaton, for me, is my favorite Batman of all time. I grew up on Michael Keaton's Batman. He was my favorite Batman. The Batman 1 is a 5 out of 5 for me. It is perfect. Batman Returns is great. And this, I did not like Michael Keaton in this movie. I don't know what it was. I feel like Michael Keaton was basically strictly in here just for nostalgic purposes, and that is the first and only time I will say that, because Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, I don't care that it was some nostalgia bait. They were perfect in that movie. This, I did not really like Michael Keaton in this movie. I felt like it would have been fine with other characters in this movie, with Ben Affleck's Batman. I was fine with Michael Keaton. In watching the trailer, I was hyped that it was Michael Keaton. But this is not the same Michael Keaton Batman I feel that it was in the first Batman movie. I just didn't really care for it. I feel like it's really cool that the original Batman movies, though, are the same lineup. Like, this is the same universe. So if you watch Batman 1, like the Batman Returns, and then The Flash, that is a universe. So, like, that's really cool in my opinion. I just didn't like Michael Keaton's performance in this. And Supergirl. I didn't mind Supergirl, but I didn't like it as much. The thing I did like about Supergirl is, though, as soon as General Zod said, "We killed your cousin, Superman," she went absolutely ape crap on him. She did not care, and that's one thing I really did like, because in Man of Steel, it took Superman a long time to actually get physical fighting, and he was very devastated when he had to decease General Zod. But Supergirl, no care in the world. She went ape crap on him, went beating him, but of course she has to die, otherwise it's kind of like a canon event in a way. And that's what I guess this DC thing was. They never really had a term for it, but I guess it was a canon event, or a Nexus event, something like that, you know what I'm saying? So I guess Supergirl did have to die, which I mean, I get, but whatever. So I wasn't really a big fan of her performance necessarily, but Ezra Miller I thought was great. I thought Ben Affleck's Batman was perfect in this movie, and that's another thing. I'm going to miss Ben Affleck's Batman, and I never really cared for Ben Affleck as Batman, but in this movie, I don't know what it was, but I really liked Ben Affleck's Batman, and that's what's great about this movie too. It is the conclusion for the DCEU, and it's bringing me, it's a great conclusion, because this is actually the one and only time that I really cared about the DCEU, story-wise. The first 20 minutes of this movie was perfect storytelling for the DCEU. But yeah, acting-wise, it was good, but only for Ezra Miller. That's really it. Soundtrack, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. It was, the soundtrack is Michael Keaton's Batman theme. That is the theme that I grew up on. That was my favorite theme as a child for soundtrack-wise. Playing Lego Batman, just watching the Batman movies. Whenever that theme came on, I was hyped. That is the best superhero theme song in my opinion. You can't get better than the OG Batman theme song. That is perfect for a Batman superhero theme song ever. Enjoyment, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. There were a few scenes in this movie where I was alright, it's a bit dragged, that I would have been alright, let's kind of pace it up a little bit. That's another reason why this movie's great, but it's not amazing. It's too long in my opinion. I feel the beginning 30 minutes, I was it's great storytelling. It's a bit long though. You didn't need it to be that long. Some of the scenes where they were in the Batcave, I was alright, let's hurry it up. Some scenes with Superwoman, I was alright, let's hurry it up. It was just a little bit, I felt long paced, and I was very upset that we never really got to find out what happened to Barry Allen's mother. So I guess that's another thing. However, I did really enjoy the ending to this movie, which we are about to talk about, which I'm very puzzled on where they're going to go with this, but, you know, also the post-credit scene was really cool. It was literally just him meeting with Aquaman, and Aquaman was a bit drunk. That's really all it was, but that was cool. But this movie definitely has moments like Ezra Miller as an 18-year-old was really cool. He was really funny. This movie's very funny, but also it holds DC standards, how like DC is darker than Marvel, I feel. But this movie is funny, so it has DC humor to it. That makes me laugh, because sometimes Marvel humor is too much, but this one has Marvel humor and DC humor, and I feel like that's perfect when you have that low-grounded humor, but not over-the-top humor, somewhere in the middle, and that's what this movie's great. It's very funny, and it's my type of comedy movie superhero thing. And now the ending, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. The ending scene was basically the court scene. Barry Allen was in his timeline. What's really cool is basically like they had footage this whole time, and it was basically footage of Barry Allen's father, of the murder scene. He was actually at a supermarket, but you couldn't see his face. So Barry Allen went back in time, but he put the can at the top jar, or at the top shelf. That way you could see his face, the father. I don't really know if I'm explaining this well. But anyways, it's really cool because Barry Allen's father is proven innocent. And then he gets a phone call, or he calls Bruce Wayne, and we all think it's Ben Affleck, but of course it's George Clooney. What? That caught me so off guard. It was truly an amazement to see George Clooney back as Batman, because I actually did like George Clooney as Batman, even though he did have the bat nipples, but whatever. I did not really like his movie necessarily, but I liked him as Batman. And that was another thing a while ago, saying, oh, George Clooney's gonna be the new Batman, and everyone was like, no, he's not. But this was also before James Gunn took over. So my thing is he going to be the new Batman? Or is this going to be something that was hyped up for, like Henry Cavill coming back in Black Adam, that we're never going to see again? So that's what I'm thinking this is. I think this is just going to be something that was there. That was just a little fun Easter egg, but we're never going to see him as Batman ever again. Now, overall, I'm giving this movie like an 82 out of 100. So like an 8.2 out of 10, 4 out of 5, whatever you like to say. It was good, not great. It's definitely a better DC movie. I think on my list, I have it right here of the DCU movies. Now look, I know when you see this, you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute, Max. Why is Aquaman and Wonder Woman down low? I've seen them a long time ago. I don't remember them that well. I'm gonna try to rewatch Wonder Woman. Aquaman, I didn't really mind. I've seen it not too long ago. It was like 3 years ago. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great. Wonder Woman, I haven't seen since it came out, so I'm gonna rewatch it. So don't hate me that it's that low. But as of right now, The Flash is number 5. And yes, I do think Suicide Squad number 1 is actually good. So don't come at me saying that I put Wonder Woman below that. I did, okay? So what? So what? It's a movie. It's not the end of the world, okay? I will rewatch it, okay? Anyways, that's my list of DC right now. As of 2023 standards, this movie is not the best superhero movie we got. I do think Spider-Man and Guardians, I think it's a shame that this movie came out after those movies. If this movie came out in, like, let's say March, I probably would have really loved it. But since it came out after 2 amazing superhero movies, it kind of fell a little short-sighted after Spider-Man and Guardians. However, I do think that this movie is far better than Shazam! Fury of the Gods, because that movie sucks. I'm just putting it out there. That movie is awful. I hate it with a passion. So with that being said, this movie was good. Nothing great. I definitely think you should check it out if you like DC. If you don't really care for the DCEU, I would wait. But I think it's enjoyable. I think it's funny. I think it's charming. I think it's everything that someone would like in a superhero movie. I just don't think it's anything amazing. I think it's an average superhero movie that isn't bad, that isn't great, that's good. So if you've seen the Flash movie, let me know what your thoughts are about it in the comments below. With that being said, thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications and future reviews like this, and make sure to like the video. With that being said, Disney Nerd out. Peace.